Andrew Tate's first interview in his United States holiday was with one of his most pathetic, disgraceful, degenerate simps, Patrick Bet-David. Since the Tates were arrested in December 2022 on charges including human trafficking and rape, PBD and the Valuetainment crew have become some of the biggest cheerleaders for the self-confessed sex trafficking child predators. They interviewed Tate once before his arrest, flew out to their house in Bucharest after the Tates were arrested and released from jail to let Andrew lie about their case uninterrupted for 4.5 hours. And now they have hosted Andrew in the Valuetainment studio to again give him a platform to spread lies and propaganda about their human trafficking cases, while Patrick Bet-David, Adam Sosnick, and Vincent Oshana just smiled and nodded like pathetic little bitches. All of these ridiculous lies from Andrew I've already covered countless times, but the main point I want to make with this video is to emphasize the degenerate conduct from Patrick Bet-David and his crew of idiots. But firstly, I want to thank all the supporters of the channel who are making it possible to produce this content. You can support by buying Gadget a coffee or joining as a member. The links are in the description. Okay, let's get into this train wreck. First, I have a really clear example of what a pathetic bitch that Patrick Bet-David was throughout this interview. When Patrick announced this interview, he said nothing was off the table, a sentiment which he repeated at the start of the podcast.
Here's what I would tell you. I don't know what's going to happen with YouTube. Share the video with everybody. Text it to as many people as you know to make sure everybody gets the message. Tate said, push me, challenge me. Nothing's on the table. We're going to talk about a bunch of different things.
Yet, when Patrick wanted to bring up Ben Shapiro's criticisms of Tate and get his thoughts, Tate said no, that this was off the table, and Patrick folded meekly.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do a podcast together.
Listen, let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. I'm not even going to read Ben's crap. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear Ben's crap. Let me tell you about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro.
The idea of nothing being off the table quickly went out the window when Patrick's daddy said Ben Shapiro's mean words about him are off the table. This next clip I'm going to use to really set the scene for how sick this display from Patrick and his crew really was. You will see them let Andrew speak uninterrupted and unchallenged for 1 minute and 45 seconds. Tate tries to confuse PBD's audience about what human trafficking even is, particularly the loverboy method of human trafficking, which the Tates are accused of using. As I've covered extensively on my channel, the loverboy method is simply a method of sex trafficking where the trafficker uses a false romantic relationship to recruit a victim to exploit them in sex work. The act, means and purpose of human trafficking still need to be present. Tate lies in this clip and says that the loverboy method is simply recruiting someone to work for you by being nice. There is clear evidence, including Tate's many online confessions, that he used violence, threats of violence, blackmail, including threats to release revenge porn, false debts, coercion, and many other methods that point in the direction of him being guilty of being a sex trafficker. Again, Tate lying about this is something that I've debunked many times and are sick of doing, but what I want you to watch in this clip is the reaction from Patrick Bet-David and crew. Not only during Tate's rant, but get a load of PBD's reaction after.
Let's talk about human trafficking. Let's talk about human trafficking. Nobody who's accusing me and tweeting these stupid things even knows my fucking charges. I thought human trafficking, I didn't know what human trafficking was. I thought human trafficking was getting someone, beating them up, putting them in chains, dragging them somewhere, keeping them chained up, and forcing them to do something, sex or wash dishes, whatever. That's what I thought human trafficking was. But in this insane subjective world where women are children who can be fooled into anything, they're saying human trafficking is, no, you used the loverboy method. You were nice to her. And because you were nice to her and you used financial incentives to make her do something, you're telling me I was nice to my girlfriend and bought her a handbag and that made her do something? And that's human trafficking? Guys, analyze this. If you are nice to a woman and buy her a present and she does anything ever, even if you didn't tell her to do it, they could say, he made her do that. He made her have TikTok. And even if she says, no, he didn't make me have TikTok, like the girls in my case saying, no, he didn't hurt us. The girls in my case are defending me. Doesn't matter what you say, he brainwashed you. He made you have TikTok because he bought you handbags. Guys, please understand, no man is safe from this bullshit. No man is safe. And that's why they keep this so vague. People talk about consent all the time. You need to get consent, get consent. How can you get something they can take away years later? You can't get consent. That's why a huge proportion of the men, the young men in the world today, are just checking out of girls and checking out of sex. Like, oh, fuck this. It's a mess. I'm not even getting involved in it. I can't blame them. It's a minefield. Nobody's safe from this garbage. Absolutely nobody.
So, by the way, debate. Do you ever watch a debate, presidential debate, and you say, man, I'd love to be on the stage debating somebody? Do you ever itch for it or no?
Sometimes, yeah. I love, yeah, sometimes. Let me ask why you're asking the question.
I'm asking a question because I watch you.
This is sick, depraved stuff. This is where the arguments of people like Patrick and Candace simply talking to Tate goes down the toilet. These people are consciously, actively helping self-confessed sex trafficking child predators intimidate victims and witnesses and spread propaganda about their ongoing human trafficking cases. And believe it or not, this episode of the PBD podcast only gets more depraved. They bring up the topic of Epstein and the Epstein list, with this proud, out in the open sex trafficker. And in a bizarre moment, Tate seems to justify people on Epstein's island molesting kids because of monogamous relationships in the West or something. And these freaks just go along with this as if it's normal.
So if you're a man who's prepared to have a bunch of women and you have your women, you're happy enough. But if you're a man who's stuck with a woman and you don't even get along with each other and it's a show marriage and you have to be together and you argue all the time and you're sexually repressed and you're being promised in secret that you can go to an island and finally be pleasured and satisfied, no one's ever going to find out, that's how you end up on the island. So this whole monogamy garbage that's being pushed by the West, especially amongst our elites, is the reason we have the biggest problem with pedophilia. And they don't have this problem in South America because they all have girlfriends. They don't have this problem in Russia because they all have girlfriends. The Thai elites don't have this problem. They all have girlfriends. But here in the West, we're saying, nope, you just stick with your wife, only her, be happy with her. Well, what happens if you don't get along anymore? What happens if you don't fuck anymore ever? What happens if you're not enjoying it? And you're hearing all these stories from all these people having a great time. That's why we have a perversion problem, because we're suppressing men's natural inclination to sexually mate with women who are not the one they're married to. That is actually the root of a lot of pedophilia. People say I am the problem with the West and that I'm destroying Western society. I would argue, and I'm good at that actually at a certain echelon, monogamy causes more problems than it solves.
The ability to communicate and debate. I can't wait to see this kind of stage
I'll
debating
vote.
any argument.
I will become a citizen there to vote for it.
I don't understand the pedophilia thing, because believe me, I live in Miami. I know the Russians.
Yeah.
I know the Colombians. I know the Venezuelans. I get the extra girlfriends.
No, okay.
But if you're not happy being married, why do you got to go to the...
No.
Just go bang a hot chick.
But they go... But
why
they go,
a kid?
I would argue, and I have no idea, that they go to these islands with the intention of sleeping with a beautiful 23, 24-year-old, whatever, and they do eventually, but then other people are doing this, and it gets further and further down the depravity, and then it's kind of like if you go to these secret clubs and you're the only person not doing it, you can't be trusted. So it's... I guess there's a peer pressure element.
Or maybe...
I think it's a combination over years.
Or maybe...
What the fuck? This next clip is some more uninterrupted, unchallenged Tate propaganda. He tries to spin the idea that the victims in his ongoing human trafficking cases have been pressured and brainwashed into testifying against him. Again, I've covered these lies too many times, but what I want you to focus on is this reaction from Patrick Bet-David, keeping in mind the man he is letting spew this garbage is currently charged with raping a 15-year-old girl and trafficking a 17-year-old girl.
But the police bring them in. Women are not prepared for 10-hour police interviews. If you bring a woman in and go, did Andrew ever hurt you? No. Did he ever abuse you? No. He's abusive to women. Well, he wasn't abusive to me. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. Well, did he ever make you sad? Well, we argued sometimes. Yeah, so that's abuse. Well, I don't think it is. Well, when you were sad, what did you do? Well, we just went out. You just ignored me and went to work. With another girl, right? Yeah, I think so. After 10 hours, they end up believing they're a victim. They brainwash them. And they know what they're doing. The police are trained to do this.
As Andrew is allowed to lie about his ongoing, active human trafficking cases, Patrick just looks on and smiles as if he's admiring his high school crush. Next, Patrick brings up the prospect of Tate being extradited to the UK. Extradition for both Andrew and Tristan to the UK was approved in March of 2024 for trial-ready charges including human trafficking and rape. This extradition is to go into effect after the Romanian criminal proceedings. It is for completely separate women to the UK civil case, which has been widely publicised. It is connected to alleged crimes against women between the years of 2012 and 2016. Watch Tate, after dribbling some rubbish, lie and say it is an allegation of him attacking a girl in 2009. Again, completely unchallenged with zero pushback.
Well, let me ask this one here. With this situation here, that you're in the States, can UK say now he's in the States, can UK and US's relationship with each other do anything to you? Is that a risk of yours? Is that a concern of yours, or not at all?
Why does the UK want to lock me up? Because I'm seen as a symbol of resistance against their communism. That's why they hate me. They hate me because I teach young men to think for themselves. That's why they hate me. Because the UK's fallen due to a lack of masculinity, which is what I promote. That's why they hate me. Are they going to try and get me? Probably. If I go to UK, will I ever get out? Probably not. So if I have to go to the UK and fight them, I'm going to do that too. Until then, I'm on the PBD podcast. I don't know what they're going to try and do. All I know is I don't trust them. And I don't think any American who understands how the world's currently operating trusts the UK government with anything. Do you? Would you trust yourself to have a fair trial in a British court?
In UK?
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Exactly. So it's a setup.
No.
It's an absolute setup.
UK.
Why did the UK even come for me? When I got released from Romanian jail, then I got released from house arrest, all of a sudden, Britain trumps up charges from 2009. Supposedly in 2009, I attacked some girl. And I was arrested again for 24 hours. I don't know if you guys remember. And I sat there for 24 hours. I was like, okay, wait. Who? When? Can't tell you that. So you're saying in 2009, I attacked a girl? Yes. Who? Doesn't say. When? Doesn't say. Where? Doesn't say. Just says 2009, you attacked a girl. By coincidence, Tristan also, 2009, attacked a girl. Where? When? Who? Don't know. 2009, you both attacked girls. No details. We made it up. Extradite.
Those lies were bad, but it gets worse.
Thank God the Romanian state said, no, there's not even evidence. We can't extradite with this. There's nothing that doesn't mean anything.
Unbelievable. This man's lies are just out of this world. Tate says with a straight face that the Romanian state said, no, this is not evidence, you can't extradite with this. The extradition is officially approved, this is public information. Here is the document from Tristan's approved extradition to the UK. This is an obvious, easy one to fact check. What do you say, Valuetainment team? Do you wish to offer a correction? Great job, boys. Keep it up. The level of simping for this self-confessed sex trafficking child predator is enough to make a grown man cringe. Listen to how much these fools overreact to every little joke that Tate says.
If he can afford me, I'm very famous and I'm very important. So if he can afford me, if Ron can afford me, I'll help him out. But I was disappointed by my welcome. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to train Ron. We're going to be okay.
Tate, we've interviewed you a few times.
Let's go to Shapiro. So,
little Ben.
One
second, I'm Ben. Let me lower my chair. Let me lower my chair down.
Listen, I suggested the other day that you and Ben do podcasting.
Megan, I've never spoken to you in my life. I actually saw a few clips of yours. I thought that you were pretty good. I was a fan. You still can't drive, but it's fine. I mean, like, people are allowed. People are allowed.
Maybe driving classes.
People are allowed.
If it's one is marketing, the other one.
Oh, man.
You can't drive, Megan, but you can have an opinion. It's a free country. It looks like I work for the Jews. So what can you do?
Well, Tate, you're hired. Don't worry. I'll get you.
I was about to
get you a discount. I'm going to get you a 10% discount.
Get the yarmulke.
I got you.
Get the yarmulke
There
in
is
here
no
right now.
discounts.
Buy one, get one. We'll bring Tristan in.
I was about to say, if I was hired, where's my fucking money?
Save that money, Tate. Save that money.
Because they ain't paid on yet. And you know, but
Tate has them dying of laughter over this nothing joke about Elon Musk.
And they'll still sit there and go, oh, but he's guilty. Did I say some stupid things on the internet 12 years ago? Yes. But I also said I'm an astronaut. And guess what? Elon's not calling. So it doesn't matter. It's not, you need a victim.
It doesn't get more pathetic than this. In December, the Tate's first human trafficking case in Romania was sent back to the prosecutors for several irregularities to be amended and a handful of statements to be removed. When this happened, Tate dug up one of his favourite and most embarrassing lies, that the case was dismissed. Here we are 4 months later and Tate is still humiliating himself by repeating this lie. In a shocking moment after the case dismissed lie, the Valuetainment team actually fact-checked Tate, but it didn't last long. Tate deflected and went on to spew another string of ridiculous lies, and Patrick and the team had no further comment.
By the way, when you say dismissed, Rob just pulled this up. As of March 3rd, the charges against Andrew Tate have not been dismissed. In December 2024, a Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. However, investigations into allegations of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized crime group are ongoing.
Correct.
Is it still that? Is
correct.
that still
no, correct.
going?
So let me clarify. Correct. Absolutely. December 2024, my case was dismissed. The Romanian court identified procedural errors in the case leading to a dismissal. That sounds like, procedural errors, no big deal. What if procedural errors are false translations? What if procedural errors are illegal wiretaps? What if procedural errors are not respecting my client attorney privilege? What if they spied on me when I was talking to my lawyer? What if they broke every single law in the Romanian constitution, which is what they did? Then they returned it to the prosecutor and said, do it all again. So here it says, it's still ongoing. Yeah, it was dismissed because the whole case is garbage, just as I described. They sent it back to the prosecutor and said, we'll keep him locked up. We'll keep him here. Here's 2 more years. Try again. Is that justice? I'm asking a genuine question. Maybe I'm jaded. Maybe I'm wrong because I'm living in the middle of it. As professional men, do you see that as justice? I beat my case. They lied and cheated the whole way through. They sent it back. And then they get to say, it's still ongoing because the case is open because we're going to do it again. Is that allowed?
So Romania's expecting you to be back by March 23rd.
Correct.
Every single thing that Andrew just said was a lie. I've covered this in my videos. Andrew Tate's case was not dismissed, and Andrew Tate's case was not dismissed Volume 2. If you want to see these lies debunked in more detail, check out those videos. But for now, here are the details of the ruling from the Bucharest court portal in December, when the first case was sent back to the prosecutors. If you don't believe me that everything Tate is saying about this hearing is a lie, feel free to pause the video and find the things that he is saying the judge said. My source for what the Bucharest court said is the Bucharest court. Patrick brings up Andrew's ridiculous, absurd, phony campaign to become English Prime Minister, and Andrew carries on as if it's actually a thing.
So, by the way, debate. Do you ever watch a debate, presidential debate, and you say, man, I'd love to be on the stage debating somebody? Do you ever itch for it or no?
Sometimes, yeah. I love, yeah, sometimes. Let me ask why you're asking the question.
I'm asking a question because I watch you, and we've spent I don't know how many times we've done this. So this is we're on our 12th hour, right, of doing podcasts, and we've only done 3. And first 2, each of them was 5 hours. We have the conversations together, and I watch you make your arguments, make your case, right? Was a part of you wanting to run for prime minister in UK a publicity stunt? Were you sick of it, or were you itching to make the place better?
So my intention to become UK Prime Minister is absolutely 100% legitimate. I want to save the country I grew up in, because if I don't do it, they're going to succeed. There's only ever been a good man against a bad man. If you're going to let the bad men run rampant, they're going to finally conquer. So I am absolutely serious about saving the United Kingdom if I can. I'm going to do my absolute best. That's why they want to put me in jail. They know I'm a threat to them politically. They know that. That's why they want to lock me up for my tweets.
Firstly, the fact that Patrick asked that question with a straight face is beyond embarrassing. As we covered earlier in the video, there is an active arrest warrant for Andrew and Tristan Tate in the UK. The extradition from Romania is approved. If either of the Tate brothers ever stepped foot in the UK, they would immediately be put in handcuffs. I do find it amusing that Patrick asked this question and Andrew was forced to go along with it because Andrew's phony Prime Minister grift has been over for some time. He removed the Bruv campaign from his Twitter handle and has not posted about it in weeks. When they discussed the Tate's trip to the United States, Andrew declared that he will return to Romania on the 23rd of March, which I found very interesting.
My bail conditions are that I have to return on the 23rd of March. And I'm going to make it very clear right now to everybody listening. I am going back. I'm going to fly back and obey my bail conditions. I'm not running from anything because I'm not a coward. I'm going back to Romania. They may arrest me. Maybe put me back in jail. I don't know what they're going to do. But I'm going to go back. I'm not running from any of this. I've never run from any of this.
I'll be very interested to see if Andrew keeps his promise, because it was reported by Romanian journalist Mircea Barbu, who has been covering the Tate case from Romania, that according to a trusted source who witnessed their departure, the Tates packed over 20 suitcases full of clothes and all sorts, that the house is now empty and they took pretty much everything, suggesting that when they left, they had no intention of ever returning to Romania. There is also the situation of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and its Attorney General James Uthmeier saying that the Tate brothers are not welcome in Florida and that they would be looking into what jurisdiction they have over their alleged crimes. Andrew was asked about the comments DeSantis made, and he had a bit of a meltdown.
So I like Trump's answer. As for Ron, I'm a little bit disappointed, I'll be honest. I've never said anything bad about him. I didn't know much about him. I knew nothing about the guy. But it turns out when he was pressured, he instantly caved to the pressure. I don't know why Ron's answer wasn't, he has an American passport. The judicial system in Romania, which I know absolutely nothing about, decided to let him fly. And he's flown to his home country. As far as we're concerned, he's broken no laws. Instead, what he did was say, we're going to get our attorney general to try and find some laws he's broken and wreck this man who's done nothing inside of the United States ever. You find the man and then find the crime. Is that not exactly what Ron DeSantis just promised to all of his constituents? It's not, we've seen a crime, let's find the perpetrator. It's, we found a man, let's see if we can find a crime to pin on this man. Is that the American way? Is that democracy? But it's quite unusual and quite scary for me to land as an American citizen, expecting a hero's welcome after dealing with a foreign and complicated judicial process, and being told that now the American state is going to be set on me, trying its very best to lock me up here when I've done nothing wrong ever. This is communism in and of itself. I may as well fly back to Romania. This is incredible that I landed and the governor of Florida is like, don't worry, I told my attorney general to try and find things this man's done. Where did they even come from? So I'm very, very disappointed in Ron. If you want some training, come to me and I'll tell you. Your correct answer was, we have no information of crimes he's committed inside the United States. He has an American passport. We were not aware of his arrival, but it's not really our concern. He's an American citizen returning to his home country. If he breaks the law within Florida, he will be held accountable as well as any other person would be. And until that point, that's it. But instead, he just completely caved and folded. Ron fell for it. Instead of standing there and saying, we have no evidence of crimes, he has an American passport, it's innocent until proven guilty, I don't understand the Romanian system, what he did was collapse instantly and completely. And liberals know this. Even governors of great states like Florida are not smart enough to stand up and answer a media question without falling for the trap, which makes them incompetent and unfit for leadership if they can't resist matrix programming. Do you want a governor who can be tricked by the matrix? Because I don't. Do you want an AG who's going to, instead of trying to solve the crime in Florida, find an innocent man and waste his time trying to put him in jail? Because I don't. But this is the world we're now living in.
Unfortunately for Tate, his whining didn't work. As I was recording this video, news broke that the Florida Attorney General Uthmeier had confirmed that Florida had officially launched a criminal investigation into the Tates, that they had secured subpoenas and warrants.
Yeah, look, these guys have themselves publicly admitted to participating in what very much appears to be soliciting, trafficking, preying upon women around the world. Many of these victims coming forward, some of them minors, people can spin or defend however they want. But in Florida, This type of behavior is viewed as atrocious. We're not going to accept it. They chose to come here and set their feet down in this state, and we're going to pursue every tool we have within our legal authority to hold them accountable. So we are in the process today. We have secured and executed subpoenas and warrants, and we're going to continue to move forward with full force of law. This is an ongoing criminal investigation, and we're going to use every tool we have to ensure that justice is served.
Do you open a criminal investigation?
There is an active criminal investigation, yes.
Do you believe that can you give me any details of what?
I can't comment on a pending investigation, but what I can tell you is if these guys did criminal activity here in Florida, we will go after them with the full force of law and hold them accountable.
This is a quickly developing story. Will traveling to the United States backfire on the Tates? I will be sure to keep you all updated on whatever the hell happens next. So if you want to keep up with this circus, make sure you're subscribed. But to finish, the disgusting, degenerate team at Valuetainment Media, Patrick Bet-David, Adam Sosnick, Vincent Oshana, and Tom Ellsworth, who didn't make this podcast, but needs a special mention for being a sick fuck, attacking Tate's victims in previous episodes of the PBD podcast. The way that all of these freaks have actively ran propaganda for these self-confessed sex trafficking child predators is beyond alarming. Valuetainment, in my opinion, has showed that they as a network are pro-sex trafficking and child rape. I do not believe these men are safe to be around women or children unsupervised.